as everyone knows, most people know who the audience, I am a former commanding officer of the cold case squad in the New York City Police Department. I ran a detective squad in the 79th Precinct, Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. I was a sergeant in the Crown Heights section. As a detective in the NYPD in transit, an investigator. I never attained the rank of detective. I got promoted to sergeant in advance of that. But it was always my dream to be in investigations. And I've been retired almost 20 years now. And everywhere I go, everywhere I work, someone says to me, hey, Tommy, you were in cold case. You worked all these homicides. What's the case that gnaws at you? What's the case that you always wish was solved? And although statistically and administratively this case was solved, we did not obtain a conviction after 2 mistrials and an acquittal. This person who was arrested was ultimately, I believe, Ms. Sims, and you can speak to it, was found guilty in a civil court for wrongful death. Yes. However, the criminal conviction did not come. Well, that case was a beautiful young girl by the name of Ashley Sims, age 13 years of age, and she died in an arson for profit murder case at 27 Brevoort Place 25 years ago. I just want to tell you that I had never met Miss Sims before during the homicide case. I always liaisoned with Carolyn Sims, Miss Sims's sister.
Yes.
And it was about 10 years ago on LinkedIn of all places that I received a direct message from Miss Sims, and she said, are you the Tommy Joyce that worked in the 79th Precinct in 2000? And I said, yes. So we've been talking on and off for about, give or take 8 or 9, 10 years or so. And then most recently, I had noticed that this anniversary was coming up, and I reached out to Miss Sims and asked her if she could, if she would want to tell her story. I think she's been on a long journey, and she's ready to tell that story.
I'm Sharon Sims, the mother of Ashley Sims. I'm still in Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn is not the same as it used to be either. Everything has changed so much. So, yeah.
Okay, so a little bit of background, since this is a police-related show, but then we wanted to show who the victims are and why the police do what they do. So this is the unusual report that was submitted on the night of the incident that happened at 27 Brevoort Place. It's on the border of the 79th Precinct and 77th Precinct, right off Atlantic Avenue as it gets down towards the north end of Brooklyn. These are brownstone houses. They probably were single-family homes 75, 100 years ago. They've been converted to multiple dwellings. And at this time, this was a Section 8 home that had multiple families living in there, and they were on public assistance. It is our theory that Antonio Casanova, who's ultimately the perpetrator, was having problems evicting the tenants and figured the only way he could get them out was to burn them out. What a terrible, horrific, evil thing to do. So with that, this was Ashley. And although Diane Carter was also injured and she was listed as likely to die at that time, she was very seriously injured. And I believe there were at least 11 or 12 other people who had serious injuries ranging from smoke inhalation and fire burns to also broken bones and serious physical injuries due to jumping out of the window. Yeah. Some newspaper articles at the time. And to make matters even worse, not only was this an intentional act committed by a very evil person, but the city failed inspections on the fire suppression systems at that time. So it made the fire even worse. And if I remember correctly, the fire marshals in our arson and explosion squad informed us at the time that this was done by a probable amateur, because a professional arsonist would know to dilute gasoline and kerosene together, because the gasoline is more volatile and then the kerosene would burn hotter and longer and cause more damage. And again, for all you arson and explosion and ATF guys, Pete, don't hold me to that. I'm recalling a 25-year memory here in conversations with the ATF and the arson and explosion squad. However, that also helped us build towards looking at the amateur that he was, Antonio Casanova. And then in February of 2001, Antonio Casanova was arrested as he took a flight from the Dominican Republic and landed in Miami. And we had made a case and got an indictment against him at that time. And we were just waiting for him to come back to the United States. And we got him as he was landing in Miami in February of 2001. So that's the short version of this case. I'm going to turn it over to Miss Sims right now and let her tell you about her journey real quick. And then she wrote a book, and there's a foundation for Ashley that we'll just talk about. And then we'll get into the Ten-Four Tavern.
Thank you, Lieutenant Joyce. I am so happy to be a guest on your podcast tonight. I can't believe it's been 25 years. I just saw someone in the grocery store a few hours earlier, and she was like, "It's been that long?" I was like, yes, 25 years. And believe me, first of all, I would like to thank you and the other guys that did so much for this case. We never had to ask you for any information. You kept us informed on each and everything that you guys were doing, and we so much appreciate that, you know? Yeah.
So I want to give a shout out right now. The two assigned detectives, although there were many, was Detective Patrick Valentino from the 79th Precinct Detective Squad and Detective Frankie Gutierrez from the Brooklyn North Homicide Squad.
Most definitely.
Those were the two primaries, but dozens and dozens of detectives pitched in.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You know, that night it was crazy, the whole thing. It was so unexpected because, you know, I never let her, she had gone to spend the night there like once before. I was very protective of my daughter. And this night she begged and she begged and she wanted to go to stay night. And I was like, I finally said yes. And this is the night that this happens. I was so protective of her. And I felt so guilty for so long for saying yes. You know, I had to live with that guilt for years. And I struggled after that. You know, I just felt like I was to blame for that. You know, even though I didn't cause it, I felt like I was to blame because I should have never let her go on. So I struggled for years. I had to see psychiatrists, therapists, which I still do have a psychiatrist and a therapist until this day, you know? That helped a lot because the medication, I was not trying to do that like that. So I have a therapist until this day, which really helps me a lot. But what really helps me is me giving my life back to God and praying and stuff like that because I was brought up in the church, you know? So I knew God. God was not a stranger to me, you know? I even went through time where I was doing like worldly things, like involved in crimes and stuff like that, because I was just like, I was upset with the world. I was mad, not with you guys, but I was really upset with the jury. Lieutenant Joyce, I just could not understand, like they couldn't see what we saw. I just couldn't understand that. Even though we didn't have an eyewitness, I just felt like there was enough circumstantial evidence where we should have gotten convicted. You know, that's what I always thought. I just could not understand that. So I was really mad at the jury. I'm like, oh my God, if they could just feel the pain that I felt for 5 minutes, then they would have changed their mind. So, but I struggle. I do, but I've gotten my life back together and on track now. I'm a volunteer for Hope for New York. You know, their organization, a nonprofit that has like 60 different nonprofits up under them and stuff like that. I volunteer. I'm a leader and usher, a leader of the ushers and greeter at my church. I've been there for about 8 years. So, you know, I have the foundation, the Ashley Sims Foundation in her name. This book that I wrote, Sometimes I Look Just Like You. I titled this book this because my entire life, many decades, you know, at one time, which you didn't know, before I met you, before my daughter's case came about, I was homeless. I was addicted to drugs. But that's way before I met you. I cleaned my life up before that. And then after I cleaned up and after her death, I went back to the streets, not doing drugs, but like doing crimes, you know? And I was just like, I was angry. I was angry for you because you guys did so much. And I'm like, why can't they see what we saw? I couldn't understand it. I just could not comprehend that, you know? And we talk about you and the other two guys right now. My family and myself, we appreciate you guys so much. And I have a son. So my son was born here, but he was raised by my parents. But my son is up here now. He's in Pennsylvania right now, but he had a run-in with the law, off and on like that. But he's doing a lot better now. But what I tell him is respect the law, respect the officers. And if you respect them, they're going to respect you. And like I tell everybody, the bad ones are only a few,
So Ms. Sims, I just want to point everyone to this book. I'm going to go to the next page and bring up Ashley's foundation. So it's the Ashley Sims Charity Foundation. If you feel inclined to make a donation, please feel free to do so. The Ashley Sims Charity Foundation.com. And with that, any other final thoughts, Ms. Sims, about the foundation and the work you guys are doing, and who does the foundation help?
The foundation helped children, period. Anybody that's in like the shelter system, because she was born. She was born when we were in the shelter. Before I moved here, we were in the shelter system because I just want to help any child that I can help. So yes.
Okay, so everybody, we're gonna start pivoting right now. We're gonna final thoughts. Any like to read this comment for you from Al Crow. God bless you, Sharon, for making it through, Your Honor. Beautiful daughter. Can't imagine what you went through. So there's probably there's a bunch here chiming in, mostly getting Garry. Good morning. Hi, everybody. So we're good on that. Ms. Sims, any final thoughts before we leave? And we'll again share the book link and the foundation link at the end.
I just want to say I support the police department so much. Just continue to do the work that all the guys do, and respect them. I try to tell everybody that I teach my son that respect them and they will respect you, and we need you. And as far as that defunding the police, that's crazy. That's just ridiculous. So, yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, with that, Ms. Sims, thanks for jumping on today. I know it's a very difficult day for you, 25 years.
Thank you for having me, Lieutenant Joyce. Thank you for having me so much. We really appreciate it.
God bless you. It's an honor to meet you.
Thank you, guys. An honor to meet you guys also. Okay. Have a blessed night.
You've just watched a clip from our live episode. Click the description to watch the full episode. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos just like this.